Silly girl.
Hey fam, it is Celia. We're back with the tea that we all didn't know we needed, and honestly probably don't need because we already went through it with the Mormon wives. But obviously today we're talking about the summer house drama because, honey, it's getting messy in the reality TV world. Specifically, if you live under a rock, Amanda, West, and yes, Ciara. Now, I know a lot of people are ready to drag Amanda and Wes, but stick with me because they might actually not be in the wrong. And I want to start off with West. Listen, I know we've gone through it with West and he's made a lot of mistakes. And I know that we love Ciara Miller. I love her too. Quite frankly, I think her and Amanda are too good for that entire crew just because I don't necessarily believe in mixing relationships with my bar crew, but that's just me. But what I will say is like West is blunt. Like he might have not been as honest as we loved with Ciara, but he was somewhat honest, sometimes brutally so. And I think for us as women, we were taken back because it was more like a sting to Ciara's ego. But honestly, honesty is not a crime. And I don't think that Wes necessarily plays games. I don't think he's like the brightest crayon in the box when it comes to women, but I will say that he says what he feels. He's always pretty straight up. And I just don't think he's that big of a manipulator. In the house full of like worse than and like men that are passive aggressive, I think it's kind of refreshing. Like I've always liked West. Sure, like he can ruffle feathers, but in reality, he's not trying to hurt anyone. I think for the most part, he's pretty real. And Amanda, I think she's finally someone that knows who she is. Like she doesn't want to apologize for setting boundaries or calling out, behaviors that happened with her and Kyle that she found to be unfair. Like I think she's finally found her ground. And, some people see that and maybe they're going to label her as like dramatic or dishonest or a horrible friend. But here's the truth. Like she set boundaries and I think that's healthy and quite frankly, probably necessary. I don't think Amanda's trying to stir the pot for fun. I think she's genuinely trying to protect herself. And in a house like Summer House, honestly, that's survival because you're under a microscope and people love Bravo. And I want to talk about Ciara because I get it. Like she deserves to be upset. She deserves to be hurt. Her feelings are entirely valid. If someone you care about had feelings for someone and there's been like distance and re-exploring of connections and just everything that you go through when you date someone and break up, I think it's natural to feel betrayed or sad. And I think that we can acknowledge her hurt without necessarily like saying what happened is abruptly the worst behavior in the world. Like I don't find this at all to be anywhere even close to Scandal, which I see people are starting to compare the two and put blame on Amanda and Wes. Like let's be honest, like Scandal was in a 10-year relationship, they purchased a house. Like no, it's not the same in my opinion. But I think here's the bigger picture. I think we need to think about at the end of the day, do we own people? Like, do we get to control who someone has interest in, someone they love, or who they connect with? And the answer is no. And honestly, I would rather not be with someone who doesn't fully want to be with me than sit around upset that they found someone else, even if it's someone I know. And I had that happen to me. I was in a very long relationship back in the day. And it probably was my first love and the first guy that swept me off my feet and I gave my full attention to, and it was off and on. And, it was just like immature to a bit. And they met someone who I know and who I knew and who I had somewhat of a relationship with. And it is what it is. Like, if someone's meant to be with you, they will be. And if they're not, well, that's not your fault. That's just life. And I think for me, especially now, like, this is why Wes and Amanda might actually, I don't want to say be in the right, but they're just being themselves. They're living their life authentically. And I kind of appreciate that they're refusing to be manipulated or stuck in a dynamic that doesn't serve them. So when they had a joint statement, it didn't surprise me. And I know everyone's like, oh, it's just copy and paste. Well, yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do besides be a united front in this day and age? Everyone's just going to pick you apart. And like, quite frankly, reality TV makes it look way more messy than I think life actually is. And we don't know behind the scenes. I'm sure we're going to find out as the season continues, but we don't really know what happened between, at this point, West and Ciara. I've been saying this since the beginning of the season. It is frankly crystal clear to me that West and Amanda probably had an emotional relationship before her breakup with Kyle. I genuinely see small acts of service between West and Amanda, and West trying to pinpoint things with Kyle. And I think that's him trying to grasp onto the concept that he has feelings for Kyle's wife. And obviously now everyone's going back to the season under a microscope and looking at mannerisms and looking at touch and looking at conversations. But I mean, like, it's been pretty clear for a long time that Amanda means something to West. And if you care that much to get involved in someone else's relationship like that, like, there's probably going to be feelings. The one thing I'm not going to set aside, though, is like, I'm so happy to see Amanda's confident. And again, Ciara, she's allowed to feel her feelings, but I don't think anyone should expect to control what someone else chooses. Not saying that she is, but I think there's a lot of intent versus perception, and I think that's going to be huge here. I genuinely don't think that her or West are trying to hurt anyone. I definitely don't think they're trying to stir up drama. And again, reality TV magnifies everything. So a direct comment becomes a personal attack many times. So yeah, I think that boundaries, they're seen as being villainized. And if you remove the editing and you just look at these two as two human interactions, this is totally normal and probably totally human and something that happens all of the time. They might have not gone the right way about it given the situation, but at least now they're taking accountability and they're owning it. At this point, it's necessary. They apologize if they cross the line, but I don't find them apologizing to pacify feelings for other people or keep peace. Like, it is what it is. They're together. I don't think that's ignorance. I think that's accountability. And one thing that I want to say in general is accountability isn't about pleasing everyone else's emotions. It's just about your actions. And if someone is upset because you created a boundary to explore a relationship with another single person, in my opinion, that's not wrong. It's just life. Now, did she go about it the right way? Probably not. And I'm sure we're going to learn a lot more. But that is just my take, Spill It Girl fam. So I think genuinely Amanda and West are being unapologetic. I think they're being honest. I think Ciara is allowed to be hurt. But at the end of the day, nobody owns anyone else. And love isn't a possession. If someone is truly meant to be with you, they will be. And if they're not, let it go. Letting go in Ciara's case is not weakness, it's wisdom for her. And I think that she's going to be even better off. So that's my take. I don't know if I necessarily think Amanda and West are in the wrong, but I do think Ciara's feelings are valid. And I think that, yeah, no one else can control someone else's heart. And I think that needs to be a bigger part of the conversation rather than just continuously seeing people pin people against each other on Page 6, People Magazine, every single podcast out there. I'm just trying to find healthier ways of looking at media because I think we need a little bit more realism in our lives, whether you agree with me or not. That's my rant. That's my hot take. I hope that everyone in this situation is fine. I hope friendships aren't severely wounded. I think Ciara deserves her own justice. I think she's going to get it. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Passover or Easter holiday or whatever holiday you celebrate weekend. So with that said, that is your Spill It Girl for the day. Have a good one. Spill it, girl.